Have you ever witnessed a moment so extraordinary it seemed to defy the very laws of nature? Picture this: a vast African savanna, bathed in golden light, where a small beige dog stands face to face with a majestic leopard. But instead of fear, there's an impossible connection between them. This is a tale of unlikely friendship, of courage in the face of instinct, and of love that transcends the boundaries of species. Our story begins with Keto, a loyal companion abandoned by his human family when drought ravaged their village. Left to fend for himself, Keto wandered the unforgiving plains, his once wagging tail now drooping with hunger and loneliness. Each day was a struggle for survival, each night a battle against the lurking predators that saw him as nothing more than a morsel. But fate had other plans for this brave little dog. One evening, as Keto searched desperately for water, he stumbled upon a sight that should have sent him fleeing in terror. There, beneath a gnarled acacia tree, lay a leopard. Her golden coat shimmered in the fading light, but her fierce beauty was marred by pain. A cruel steel trap left behind by poachers had clamped down on her paw, leaving her wounded and vulnerable. Every instinct screamed at Keto to run to save himself from this apex predator. Yet something in the leopard's amber eyes, dulled by suffering, called to him. In that moment, Keto saw not a threat, but a fellow creature in need. Driven by a compassion that defied explanation, he approached the trapped leopard. With gentle determination, Keto worked at the steel jaws of the trap, tugging and pulling until finally, miraculously, it sprang open. The leopard collapsed, too weak to move, but free from her metal prison. Instead of fleeing, Keto stayed by her side. Through the long night, he licked her wounds and pressed his small body against hers for warmth. In the days that followed, he brought her scraps of food and water-soaked grass, nursing her back to health. As the leopard regained her strength, Keto waited for the inevitable moment when she would turn on him, following the cruel logic of predator and prey. But that moment never came. Something unspoken had formed between them, a bond forged in compassion and trust. In his heart, Keto named her Sophie, pure, for the unexpected kindness she had shown him. Their unlikely companionship was tentative at first. Sophie, still wild and regal, would stalk through the tall grass, while Keto nervously padded behind. But as days turned to weeks, and weeks to months, their bond deepened. Sophie's growls scattered other predators that dared come too close, offering Keto a safety he had never known. In return, Keto's keen senses warned Sophie of approaching humans, his sharp bark a signal that saved them both more than once. Lowly trust blossomed between them, like a delicate flower pushing through cracked earth. Keto learned to read Sophie's moods in the twitch of her tail, or the rumble in her chest. Sophie, in turn, came to understand Keto's playful bows and warning barks. They became inseparable shadows on the savannah, a sight that left the few humans who glimpsed them whispering of miracles. But it was one particular afternoon that truly cemented their extraordinary connection. As Sophie crouched, ready to spring upon a grazing gazelle, Keto did something remarkable. He rose up on his hind legs, pressing his front paws together as if in prayer. His eyes, filled with a mixture of pleading and love, met Sophie's fierce gaze. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to hold its breath. Then, against all logic, Sophie relaxed her hunting stance. The gazelle bounded away, oblivious to its brush with death. Sophie exhaled, a sound almost like laughter, and gently nudged Keto with her head. From that day forward, Keto's prayer pose became their secret language, a gesture that could calm Sophie's wildest instincts. But life on the savannah is never easy, even for the most extraordinary of partnerships. A devastating drought gripped the land, stretching on for months. Rivers dried up, prey animals vanished, and hunger gnawed at both Keto and Sophie. Desperation drove them closer to human settlements, where Sophie's presence sparked fear and anger among the villagers. One night, as torches flared at the edge of a village, Sophie found herself cornered. Farmers, their spears sharpened by fear, advanced on her. Just as Sophie prepared to defend herself, Keto leaped between her and the humans. Standing on his hind legs, paws pressed together, he barked desperately. Not at Sophie, but at the villagers. The sight stopped everyone in their tracks. There, illuminated by firelight, was a dog begging for mercy on behalf of a leopard. The sheer impossibility of it struck the villagers dumb. Slowly, wonderingly, they lowered their weapons. Keto and Safi slipped away into the night, their legend growing with each retelling of the tale. Years passed, and their bond only grew stronger. Safi's coat gleamed with health, while Keto's muzzle slowly whitened with age. Children left bowls of water at the grassland's edge, hoping for a glimpse of the unlikely pair. To see them together, people said, was a sign of harmony, proof that love could bridge even the widest of divides. But time, that relentless hunter, could not be held at bay forever. Keto's steps slowed, his breath grew labored. Safi noticed, slowing her pace to match his, nudging food towards him when his appetite failed. Yet even her fierce protectiveness could not stop the inevitable. As the sun set one evening, painting the sky in shades of fire, Keto collapsed beneath the very acacia tree where their story had begun. Safi rushed to him, her usual grace forgotten in her desperation. She licked his face, nudged his body, willing him to stand. Keto's tail wagged faintly, but the light in his eyes was fading. With monumental effort, Keto rose to his hind legs one final time. His paws pressed together, trembling with the effort. His gaze, filled with a lifetime of love and trust, met Safi's golden eyes. It was their prayer, the gesture that had saved them countless times before. Safi, the proud leopard who had never bowed to any creature, lowered her head. She pressed her forehead gently against Keto's paws, predator honoring prey in a moment of profound reverence. Keto sighed softly, his eyes closing as he slipped peacefully into his final sleep. For days afterward, Safi's mournful cries echoed across the savannah. She refused to leave Keto's side until at last the villagers came. With gentle hands and tear-filled eyes, they buried the little dog beneath the acacia tree. On the mound, they placed a simple marker. He prayed, and the wild listened. Though Safi eventually returned to the depths of the savannah, she was often seen in the twilight hours, a golden shadow resting near Keto's grave. Never close enough to touch, but always watching, always remembering. As years turned to decades, the story of Keto and Safi became legend. Elders gathered children beneath the old acacia tree, recounting the tale of the dog who befriended a leopard, and the leopard who learned to love.
Ow.
The children laughed at the image of a little dog begging to a fierce predator, their eyes wide with wonder at the power of compassion. And on quiet nights, when the stars blanketed the savannah in silver light, some swore they could still hear it, the faint bark of a loyal dog, answered by the soft rumble of a leopard. Two voices joined across the boundary of life and death, a testament to a love that defied nature itself. For in this vast and often cruel world, Keto and Safi had discovered a truth both simple and profound, that love once born never truly dies. It lives on in stories, in memories, and in the hearts of those who dare to believe that even the most unlikely of friendships can change the world.